Hey everyone, welcome back for another video. On my review video, I went through some of the issues that I was having with the external display on the OneXGPU, and that was with the display port and with the HDMI port. And I was asked to go through some of the troubleshooting that I went through to just resolve that issue. Because now I'm finding I'm able to actually start up games, and I'm not getting those flatline error codes and things like that. So I think there's two issues that were causing that, and one is the way that the AMD Radeon graphics driver is listed under the display adapters, like the actual driver that we're using for it in the Legion Go. And the other one is AMD Adrenalin software itself, because we can't really update to the newer software without causing conflicts or having an error message saying that it's not compatible with the driver that we have installed. So I'm going to go through some steps today, and hopefully that will resolve some of your issues. And please know that anything that you're doing in here, you're doing it at your own risk. I did a lot of different things over the last week here to try to resolve the issue, and I'm trying to just narrow down some of the options that I think might actually fix it. And again, if you have any issues, you can put them in the comments, but do this at your own risk. So let's get into it. Okay. First thing I want you to do is go into the display adapters under Device Manager. If you don't know how to get into Device Manager, just at the bottom search bar here, type in Device Manager. It'll pop up, and then you can go and see display adapters, and you can check to see the display adapters that you have connected. Right now, I do have the OneXGPU connected, so you can see that in here. You can also see that mine says AMD Radeon 780M graphics. Now, yours should say AMD Radeon graphics. That's what it should say right there, right now. But we're going to go through the process of changing that. And while I don't want to uninstall everything that I've done to get to this point, I'll try to walk you through what I have done to get you to the point where you can see that on here. All right, so in the search bar, I also want you to check AMD Adrenalin. Just type in AMD Adrenalin and see if you have that in there and what version you have. I'm just going to pop up mine. You can see that it says AMD settings. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that in this video. But your software that you have here, the version is important. The one that I had prior to uninstalling it was version 23 dot something something something. Now I'm on 24.1.1, and I'll show you how to get to this if you are on that. The other thing that could have happened is if you installed an AMD Adrenalin version that's compatible for the 7600 MXT that's in the OneXGPU, it could have taken over basically the graphics card in your Legion Go, and then you're not getting your games booting up properly anymore because it's not really seeing the graphics card that's in your Legion Go. And so that was another issue that I had. So I just outright went into installed apps in the search bar, and I found AMD Adrenalin. I hit the three dots, and I uninstalled AMD Adrenalin. So you can do that, and if you have that issue, I recommend that you do, but again, at your own risk. I'll show you how to get a different software on your device so that hopefully it'll fix everything. The other thing that I want you to do is just make sure that you've updated your chipset. This is just a message from Ben, and it's from February 16th. I'll have this link in the description. There's the AMD Ryzen mobile chipset. You can click on that. There's a how to install it in here. Just make sure that you update this. You can also restart your computer if you're doing any of these updates just to make sure that everything is fresh and up to date. The other thing you can do, and again, this is at your own risk, updating a BIOS can negatively impact your device. You could brick your device, so you got to be very careful if you're going to do that. And again, you're doing it at your own risk. So there's the version 29.1 beta BIOS. This one was released 7 days ago. You can click the zip file and you can open it that way and install it that way. There's instructions below on what you can do to install that if you don't know how to install that. The other thing you can do is just make sure that you're on at least version 29 BIOS. And you can do that by going into pcsupport.lenovo.com, finding your Legion Go, and then getting to drivers and software, which is right here. Under manual updates, you can select the BIOS right here, and then you can download the file here. So if you want to do the verified official version of 29, again, not 29.1 beta, that was released on January 23rd, and so you can download that one if you're using an older BIOS. All right, so now that, let's say you've done all of that, what we're going to do is eject using this AMD XConnect technology, and you're going to eject the external AMD Radeon graphics. And that's going to eject the OneXGPU, because we don't want that installed when we're trying to fix our Legion Go graphics drivers. So eject that. Once it's safe to disconnect, power off the GPU, disconnect the cable, plug in the Legion Go battery adapter, because we don't want to lose any battery power while we're doing this setup. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, once you've done all that and made sure it's disconnected, is we're going to go to the AMD website here. On the AMD website, you're going to click Resources and Support, and then you're going to go to Downloads, and then you're going to go to Radeon Graphics AMD Chipset Drivers. Okay. Now, once we're here, this is very important that you select the right one. If you don't select the right one, you're going to have issues. So we're going to go to Processors with Graphics. That's the first one. Again, very important. AMD Ryzen 7. So that's right here. We're going to go to AMD Ryzen processors. We're going to go to AMD Ryzen 7 with Radeon graphics. Again, important you select this one, not this one underneath. And then you're going to scroll down and locate the AMD Ryzen 7 7840U. Again, there's other 7840s, so make sure that you select the one that says U. And then you're going to hit Submit. And once you get to this page, you're going to plus sign on the Windows 11, and then scroll down to AMD Software Adrenaline Edition and hit Download. And we're going to save that as a file in your Downloads folder. So just put it in your Downloads folder for now. Don't open it. Just leave it there. Open up your File Explorer. So if you've got a little folder at the bottom here, you can use it that way. Locate this PC, and then the C drive, and then there's an AMD folder right here. Right-click it and delete that folder. This is a very important step. Make sure you do not miss this. Then, after it's deleted, I'm not going to delete it. I don't want to have to redo all this, but after it's deleted, you're going to go into your Downloads folder, and you're going to go find the software that you just downloaded, which should say AMD Adrenaline Software Edition, whatever the current edition is, which as of this date, it's the 24.1.1. And you're going to double click it and install it. And when you do that, you should get a failed installation page. It'll pop up, it'll say, oops, something went wrong. Error 182, installer detected AMD graphics hardware in your system configuration that is not supported. That's okay, that's exactly what we want. We want that screen to pop up. Close the window. Will be a little close bar at the bottom. Open the File Explorer, go back to your PC, go back to the C drive, and an AMD folder should have popped up again. Now, the next thing we want to do is go back into Device Manager. And so we're going to go Device Manager, open it up at the bottom from the search bar. We're going to go to Display Adapters. Again, you should only have one adapter here. It shouldn't say both. I just have both plugged in right now. It should only say AMD Radeon Graphics. And when you find that one, you're going to right-click it. And you're going to hit Update Driver. And when you hit Update Driver, you're going to hit Browse for drivers on my computer. This is a manual located one. We don't want to search for them automatically. We want to browse. Now, don't go into any folders we want to go, let me pick from a list of available drivers on my computer. And in this option, there's a little Have Disk button. Click that. And then it's going to say Insert Manufacturer Installation Disk. We're going to click Browse. And when we're in here, we're going to go to this PC. We're going to go to the C drive. We're going to go to AMD, Software Installer, and then Packages, Drivers, and then Display. And there's an INF folder that's here. We're going to click that. And right at the bottom, there's this INF file. It should be the only one in there you can see. I'll stretch this out here for you. You can see it's an INF file. You're going to select that one. And you're going to hit Open. And then press OK on here. And then a list is going to populate. And you can see I'm already selected on the 780M graphics card. So there's all these different options in here. You want to select the right one, and the right one is AMD Radeon 780M graphics. There's another one on here. Make sure that you select this exact one right here. You're going to hit Next, and then it's going to say Update Driver Warning. Just hit Yes on this. I'm not going to do it because it's going to wreck my device potentially, so I've already done this. So just hit Yes on that. And once it's done installing, close the window. Now we're going to go into the search bar, and you're going to type up Installed Apps and select that. And it's going to pop up. I already have it shortcutted because I've recently opened it. So under Installed Apps, you can locate AMD. You can also search the apps and just narrow it down to AMD. The ones that I have on here, you're not going to have. We're not there yet in those steps to get you to this point, but this is where you want to be and end up just having these two apps. So you're going to find an app that should say AMD software. That's the only thing. Not this chipset software, just AMD software. You're going to select these three dots, and you're going to uninstall it. Wait for it to finish. Then go back into the File Explorer, and you're going to look at this PC, and you're going to look at C drive, and then the AMD folder, and you're going to go into AMD Software Installer, and then we're going to go into Packages, and then Drivers, Display, INF, and then there's this folder here that says B399690. And it might say something different depending on the version of driver that you have. Like double click that one. And here we're going to scroll down into the C's. And right here there's CCC2 install. And it's an application. You're going to double click that and you're going to run it. And when you run that, it's going to take a couple minutes to actually populate that window fully. So the close button will show as hidden, and it'll appear as an option to select once it's done. Once it's done, select that close button when it's available, and then you're good. Now going back to the installed apps, if you type in AMD now, it should say AMD settings, and that's this one right here, and that's the one that you want to have in here. Restart your Legion Go after this, so just give it a chance to reboot everything. Again, don't have your OneXGPU attached. Go back into the device manager once you reboot, and under display adapters, you should now see AMD Radeon 780M graphics. If you do, then you're good. You've made it this far and you've done a great job. If you don't, go back through the steps and see if you can resolve that to get it corrected again. Shut off your Legion Go, connect the OneXGPU back in, turn it on, then turn on the Legion Go. When you get back to your main screen, type in AMD settings, and that's exactly what the app's called right here. So click that, open it up. And when you open that up, if you go into the settings option and then system, you should see both graphics cards showing correctly, AMD 780M graphics and AMD RX 67M XT. And your software version should say 24.1.1 or the newest version, whatever version is currently out, but everything should show correctly on here. I've even noticed that after having this set up instead of the regular AMD software that was giving me troubles, it's actually starting to show up the FPS that I was getting on certain games where I wasn't seeing that before. So that's kind of cool, and I'll explore that a little bit more as I continue to use this. I've done a lot of different troubleshooting over the last week to correct this issue with the display adapters and HDMI port off of the OneXGPU. And now it's actually working. I'm not getting flat lines. I can go and boot up a game, and I'll just start it up and I'll show you here. And it boots up normal. There's actually a little bar that pops up at the top corner. We'll see it. We should see it right here in the top right when the game boots up. So that's kind of cool. It's something that I didn't have before, and it's probably because of the new version of the AMD software. But before, I couldn't even get this to boot. That was having a major issue with the external display, and now it can boot. And if I just disconnected the display before, it would work just fine. So you can see the window popped up in the top corner, and the game is starting just fine. So hopefully this fixes the issues for you. If it does, great. Leave me a comment. Let me know. If it doesn't, let me know that too, because I'm trying to make this video just to help you. And so hopefully it at least fixed some issues for someone, and you can start enjoying this device to its fullest capabilities. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care.